In this episode, we finally head off to Canada. We pick up our Mini at the port of Halifax and start a road trip through North America. We drove the Lighthouse Route and Cabot Trail in Nova Scotia, explored the beautiful coastline on Prince Edward Island, and were fascinated by the immense tides of Fundy Bay in New Brunswick. We are family everywhere. We traded our brick house for a house on wheels, and our hectic life for one with lots of freedom and adventure. We will take you to the most beautiful places in the world. Are you new on our channel? Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss any of our videos. Finally, the moment is there. On June 29th, we took the train on our way to Amsterdam Airport, with our final destination, Canada. The journey did not go smoothly at all. We had over 3 hours delay in Amsterdam, so we missed our connection flight in Toronto to Halifax. In Toronto, the chaos was even worse than in Amsterdam, so after 2.5 hours we were told that all available hotels in the afternoon were already given away.
En dat je zelf een hotel mag gaan boeken. Nou ja, dat was met 3 minuten geregeld. En een kwartier later staan we bij het hotel op 1,5 kilometer afstand. En nou ja, we moeten wel weer over een paar uur alweer weer op. Want om 7:10 vliegen we alweer. En dan moeten we toch om 3:30 weer de shuttlebus hebben.
Fortunately, the morning flight went smoothly, although we were of course exhausted and very happy that we could take our rental car and head off to our rental house, because the camper had also been delayed for a week. We rented a house through Airbnb with a lovely garden and could recover from the long flight and explore the area a bit.
Wie gaan we ophalen, jongens?
After more than 1 week, we could pick up our Mini at the harbor. Because of the enormous crowds, we had to wait for a very long time. But at the end of the afternoon, we were finally reunited with our house on wheels. It felt so good to be home again.
Wat zei je tegen Minnie?
Dat ik haar miste.
Before we could hit the road, we had to store our stuff, and also our water pump seemed to be broken. But fortunately, we were able to get it to work again. We woke up our first morning in Canada at the Walmart, and of course we had donuts for breakfast. Besides shopping, we also filled our diesel tanks. Cheaper than in the Netherlands, but percentage-wise the prices have gone up much more here. We also filled up our gas and water tank, after which we could finally hit the road.
Nou, daar zitten we dan. Lekker op het strand in Canada.
Ja, lekker. Eindelijk. We hebben er zo lang naar uitgekeken. Het is er weer.
Ja, gewoon heerlijk om hier thuis te zijn. Dat was niet.
Ja, het is fijn. Echt fijn om weer thuis te zijn. Fijn op het eigen huisje, het eigen plekje. Ja, we hebben leuke dingen gedaan afgelopen weken.
Nou, er staat dus nog veel te wachten.
Ja, dat ook. Er zin in.
Ik ook.
Ja. Zullen we maar eens eerst laten zien wat we de afgelopen weken hebben uitgehangen?
Goed idee.
Nou, we gaan de komende 1,5 jaar dus reizen in Noord-Amerika. We beginnen in Canada. We hebben hier in het oosten onze camper naartoe verscheept.
First, we drove a part of the Lighthouse Route, a 585-kilometer trip along the entire southern coastline of Nova Scotia. We stopped at Peggy's Cove, Canada's most famous lighthouse, where the girls enjoyed clambering over the rocks. We strolled through the idyllic fishing villages of Mahana Bay and Lunenburg, where of course we also ate delicious fish. There are plenty of beaches here. We even found a beautiful beach to spend the night and relax a bit. Then we drove to the other side of Nova Scotia to get to the Bay of Fundy. The Bay of Fundy has the highest tidal difference in the world. The difference between a low and high tide can be as much as 16 meters. It's fantastic and so educational to explore the seafloor at low tide. At this beautiful spot, we saw that the tide was coming back in the evening.
Hey Nienke, kun je me eens vertellen waar het water vannacht stond? Kun je dat maar eens aanwijzen?
Over die boom.
Ja. De boom is nat, hè? Dus helemaal daar stond het water. En nu is het water weer helemaal ver weg, hè?
And in the morning, we played at the beach so we could see the entire tidal cycle. A drive of 40 kilometers brought us to Burntcoat Head Provincial Park, where the views were even more spectacular, with of course the same tidal differences. It's weird to see how the water goes back so quickly. We spent the night in the parking lot and watched the magical sunset here. Then we made some more miles to Cape Breton Island. We spent our first night with a sweet German family. The next day we hiked together the most famous hike of Cape Breton National Park, the Skyline Trail. An easy trail led to a beautiful view over the ocean. From there we continued on the Cabot Trail, a 300-kilometer round trip across the island with amazing views. We also hiked the Middlehead Trail, a fun challenging hike with nice views from the windy summit. From Cape Breton Island, we took the ferry to Prince Edward Island, PI also called. Fun fact, you only pay when you get off the island, whether by ferry or by bridge. During our first afternoon on the island, we were picked up on a beautiful beach. The hospitable Jim and Mariella, both with a Dutch background, invited us into their church that had been converted into a home. We had a very pleasant time and even spent an extra day together. Then we went to the north side of the island, to the dunes of Greenwich. It was so hot with about 35 degrees Celsius, so it became sand and water fun instead of a walk through the heat. The best thing about a camper is that the shower is always nearby. And so, after rinsing off the sand, we were able to do a walk in the evening sun. Just before sunset, we arrived at our overnight spot, where a restless night awaited us because of all the mosquitoes that came in through the cracks of our mosquito screen. Allemaal. Also on Prince Edward Island, they have many lighthouses. Cape Tryon Lighthouse is located on this beautiful, slowly eroding sand cliff. Prince Edward Island loses 28 centimeters of land each year. From Thunder Cove Beach, we walked to the Teapot Rock, for which we first had to go through the water to reach this rock carved by nature. On the last day on this beautiful island, we found a nice spot at a lake, where Pascal and I saw an amazing sunset. The next day, we decided to test out our SUP for the very first time. There couldn't be a more scenic spot.
En is het gelukt?
Ja, maar goed.
Wat was er aan de hand?
hebben een extra gat bovenin gemaakt, omdat de koelkast voor ons leverancier zijn hitte niet voor de pijp komt. Daar hebben we net een ventilator op aangesloten, zodat die hitte niet naar boven gaat, direct naar buiten wordt geblazen en erin blijft.
Want de koelkast deed het niet zo goed, toch?
Nee, want de koelkast deed niet zo goed. We de hele tijd aan, nu nog steeds. Nog 2 dagen overal condens en ijs.
Oh.
Dus dat is geen pretje.
Nou, zou het lekker?
Goed.
En nu de zooi nog opruimen, want leef je met z'n allen op zo'n kleine ruimte, dan is meteen ook dit het resultaat.
Then it was time to leave this beautiful island. After driving the 13 kilometers long Confederation Bridge, we arrived in New Brunswick, with first on our program the Hopewell Rocks. We are now on the other side of the Bay of Fundy, with, as I mentioned earlier, the highest tidal differences in the world. We saw the water drop at a rapid pace to the point where we could start exploring the seabed.
En terwijl ik druk bezig ben met het schrijven van een blog over Nova Scotia en het filmen van de hoge getijden hier in Alma en New Brunswick, zitten de kinderen lekker buiten te kleuren. Nou, het mag goed zijn, hopelijk, want het was stikke duur. Maar we hebben er veel over gehoord, dus ik kon het toch niet laten om een lobsterrol te bestellen. En, is lekker?
Ja.
Wat vinden jullie ervan? Zijn de Fries lekker? Nou, het was lekker. En zo is onze route ineens de Fundy Trail Parkway, waar we net $11 entree voor hebben betaald. Goedemorgen dames. Hebben we weer een mooi plekje vandaag? Ja hè?
Via the Fundy Trail Parkway, we arrive at the St. Andrew's Cave, where we again explore the seabed at low tide and watch the water slowly rise. Finding a nice wild camping spot in the east of North America is quite a challenge. Every day we found a safe spot, but often in a busy place where many day tourists come during the day. Not a place to hang out for a few days. In St. John, the tides can be seen in a very different way. The St. John River comes out into the Bay of Fundy. Now, at high tide, seawater flows into the river. After a while, we see the water slow down to come to a stop halfway through the tidal cycle. Then, slowly, the water begins to flow the other way, and at the top of the cycle, it flows with an enormous speed into the Bay of Fundy. We made a stop along the way at this nice, quiet little beach. Of course, time for some paddleboarding.
Date night op het water. Daarachter in de camper liggen de meiden te slapen. Babyfoon op zak. En we zagen net al zeehonden. Vasco denkt dat fijn, hè? Ik geloof het niet. We gaan kijken. Project Gasfornuis. Vasco, vertel eens. Wat voor ellende hebben we met dat rot gasfornuis?
Ja, hij werkt gewoon niet. Je gaat er heel tijd uit. En het systeem wat je moet beschermen, dat die geen gas net als vuur uitgaat, die krijgt gewoon onvoldoende stroom, waardoor die steeds dichtklapt en eigenlijk steeds continu de dingen moet houden.
Maar jij bent een handyman, hè? Je kunt het wel oplossen, toch?
Nou, de vorige keer dacht ik het opgelost te hebben. En toen duurde een paar dagen de giet mis, dus kijk of het nu beter gaat.
Poging 2. Goed gedaan!
In St. Andrews, we are going to do something very special. The children are dressed up as pirates because we are going to look for whales. While waiting for the first whale, there is plenty for the children to do. Unfortunately, we got wet also, but at the end, we also find a whale.
Vinden jullie het leuk, meiden?
Kijk, daar komt hij, jongens.
Daar komt hij.
Kijk, daar gaat hij nog een keer. Zijn we bijna, jongens?
From New Brunswick, we drove to the border of the United States. Would we get in without any problems? That you will see in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. For more travel stories and inspiration, subscribe to our channel. See you soon!